Welcome in the world of Python programming under machine learning using Python series of lectures. This is lecture 12, functions in Python, part 5. So we'll explore more on the Python functions in this lecture. So contents of this lecture are functions and recursion and examples on recursion. Now what is recursion? It is a mechanism of function calling itself. That means when function calls itself, that function which is called in itself is a recursive function. So here is the example. So we'll try to understand the definition. So we have to write a program with a function to find factorial of given number using recursion. Now what exactly is recursion? We'll try to put this in practical form. So here is the way how function call itself. For example, we have a function called factorial of n which calculates the factorial of n. So in this I have written one line, that is only single line of a code, that is fact is equal to n into factorial of n minus 1. So here if you see carefully, we are calling factorial function within this function itself by passing a different parameter. So we have a function definition which takes n as the value, and inside that function definition we have a statement in which we call the function factorial with a parameter that is n minus 1. So here this factorial function is calling itself with a new parameter. Now if you put something like this, that is nothing but a recursion. So this is just a single line description just to make you understand that how function calls itself. But there are so many things involved in this recursion which we'll see in this lecture. For example, if I say I have a function factorial n which calls itself by passing n minus 1 as the value of the argument to the function, then assume that we have a call to the function with n equal to 4. Now that factorial n equal to 4 will generate a copy in which it calls factorial 3. Now a fresh copy of factorial 3 will be generated, and that factorial 3 will call factorial 2, and factorial 2 will call factorial 1. So this way, when n is 1, factorial 1 function returns 1 to the earlier copy. Now this function will take a value of factorial 1 from this factorial 2 will take value of factorial 1, and then it calculates the factorial value, and whatever value comes, that is returned to the earlier copy. This way this mechanism works. So we'll see this in detail in the next slide, but here just for understanding purpose, that some mechanism is deployed or used at the time of execution of recursive function, that I have represented here. Now here is the systematic stepwise representation, that if we have factorial 4, so it is nothing but, assume that n equal to 4, so it is nothing but n factorial value is equal to n, that is 4 into factorial of n minus 1, that means 4 minus 1 3. Now this factorial 3 will be calling n into n minus 1, that means here n is 3, so it is 3 into n minus 1 factorial, that is factorial 2. Now factorial 2 will call n is 2 here in this case of factorial 2. So here 2 into n minus 1, that is 2 minus 1 1. Now what is factorial 1? So it is always 1, so it returns once, and this way this value is calculated. So I have shown you here the simplest way of how to call function within itself and how that mechanism works. But do remember, this is not the end of the story, rather it is not even the beginning of the story. So what exactly is the internal execution details, that we'll see in the next slide. But before that, here we will try to understand that how this function is written as a complete code. So here is the definition of the function factorial n. So in this function I have written if n equal to 1, then fact is equal to 1. So I have used one variable, some temporary variable here for the processing purpose of this factorial function. So that is 1. Otherwise, if n is not 1, because factorial of 1 is always 1, so we will assign this variable a value 1 if n is 1. Otherwise, we'll call the function itself by writing something like n equal fact equal to n into factorial of n minus 1. Now here, this is the proper code or complete code of your factorial function, but the background happenings are really different. Now here, after doing some processing, we return the value. Now what is the driver code? In driver code, I have passed 5 as the value of which factorial is to be calculated. So result equal to factorial of num. So I call here the function. So factorial of num. So it passes the value, say 5, and it will generate the result of the number 5, that is factorial of the number 5. So you may take any number here. So this is just the example, but in next slide we'll see how execution happens in background. Now when you write some program with a recursion, now this is the program with recursion, because here in this factorial of the finding factorial of number using function program, we have called factorial function within itself. Now here, if you try to execute this code in Python, so you will find so many different things, some surprising things, and so many things happening in the background. Now whenever we give a call to this function factorial num, now this function is executed in such a way that the execution environment use something called system stack. Hope you might have already studied the concept of data structure. So here we are using stack. So here the environment uses something called stack entity, and for this entire function definition, it generates a copy with the value, with the initial value which is passed as an argument. So here while calling the factorial function, we pass num. Now I have assigned num a value 4. So this will be nothing but factorial 4. Now for this factorial 4, entire new copy of a function definition is generated, and that copy takes, or rather it replaces all its variable values by the actual value of the variable passed. For example, I have passed n equal to 4, so that is I pass num as a 4, that will get copied in the n of the factorial function. Now wherever there is n, that n will get replaced with 4. So here we have code like if n equal to 1, so here 4 equal to 1, fact equal to 1, else fact equal to n into factorial of n minus 1, that is equal to what is n value for this copy? It is 4 into factorial of n minus 1, 3. So here entire copy is first generated, and that copy is called as frame. And now here, being a first frame, that frame is given number as 0, because you know computer internally works with zeros and ones, so that's why computer start counting with 0. So here, though it is a first frame, it is called frame 0. This is stack frame 0. So on this stack, system stack, this frame is placed or pushed or put, and once that frame is generated, then execution start. Now see the execution how it starts. So it starts with the first line, if n equal to 1. So here n value is 4. Is 4 equal to 1? No. So it will get into else part. Now what is there in the else part? Now we have fact equal to 4 into factorial of 3. But do remember, here before it should go to the next statement, it first take into consideration the call to the factorial function, that is function itself, with a new parameter 3. Now with this, again the environment generates a new frame, that is frame 1, that is second frame, but here the value of n is 3. So this frame will first replace all the n values, that is value of n, wherever there is n, with the actual value of n. Then frame is generated, it is pushed or put on the top of this version. Which version? Factorial of n equal to 4 version. So on top of this, factorial of n equal to 3 will be sitting, and then execution will start. Now take a note over here that factorial 4 is giving it is generating a copy called factorial 3. Now here at the time of execution of this particular copy, again there will be sequential execution. So it compares 3 equal to 1, no, so it gets into else part, and it now try to complete this statement, that is n into factorial of n minus 1. So what is n value here? It is 3. So it is 3 into factorial of 3 minus 1, that is 2. But here again this particular call will create a new frame, and that frame will be with the new value of n. So what is here the new value of n? That is 2. So here again the complete frame is generated and it starts execution step by step. So here 2 equal to 1, no, so fact is not 1, so it gets into else part. So it will create one more copy, that is fact equal to 2 into fact of 1. Now here fact of 1 will again create new copy, that is we are calling the function, same function with a new value of n, that is 1. So here it will come, it will generate the entire copy, but for this copy, if you see carefully, if part will get executed. And what is there in if part? So in if part we have just an assignment of value 1 to the variable fact. So there won't be any else part execution. So there won't be any further generation of this factorial copy, as there is no call to the factorial function within itself. So here after if it will get into the code after the else part. So what is the code after the else part? It is nothing but return fact with the current value 1. Now this way, this is execution, forward execution of the stack frames. But once we reach to the terminating condition, there will be a reverse journey, and that we'll see in the next slide. Now see here, we have the last copy generated with n equal to 1. Now is 1 equal to 1? As this is true, so this 1 value is assigned to the fact and this fact is returned. Now where this return value actually goes? It goes exactly where there was a call given to this particular stack frame, that is frame 3. So from where this frame 3 was generated, it was generated from frame 1, frame 2. So it comes here, that is the third frame, and will return that value 1 here. So this factorial 2 call will now get replaced with the actual value of the function, that is factorial n equal to 1 copy. So it will be 1 into 2. So what is fact value for this particular copy with frame 2? It is 2. So now once this statement is complete over here, it will go to the next part of the function execution. So that is the return statement. So what it does, it returns fact value 2 to the earlier copy from which this frame 2 was generated. So from where this frame 2 was generated, it was generated from frame 1, that is copy of frame 1, function copy of frame 1, stack frame 1. So here it will return the value 2. So this will be 3 into 2, that is 6. So here the fact variable takes value 6, and that 6 value in turn will be returned, because as this statement has got completely executed, it will come to the next part of the code, that is the function code, and it will now try to return value of fact, that is 6, to the copy from which this frame was generated. So from which copy this stack frame 1 was generated? It was from the earlier copy. So that is n equal to 4 copy. So here that value is returned. So what this factorial 3 value is written by this factorial 3 copy. So it is 6. Now 6 4s are 24. So here 24 will be the calculation. Now you know well, whenever there is a generation of copy, so here will be the first frame on the stack, then next frame, and then last frame. But whenever there will be completion of execution of each of these frame, these copies will be deleted one by one. So first frame 3 copy will be deleted, then frame 2, then frame 1, and then frame 0. And what, before deleting this copy, what this function does, it returns the actual factorial value of the value n equal to 4 to the calling program. Now what is the calling program? This is the complete calling program. So here 24 will be returned to this copy. Now here factorial of num call now will be replaced by the actual value of factorial n equal to 4, that is num equal to 4. Now that is stored in result, and if we try to execute this on say Anaconda prompt using Python command and the function in which this program is stored, you will get that factorial of 4 is 24, which is the expected result. Now this was the actual happening which I explained you diagrammatically, but question is this really happening, or whatever steps we saw, that creation of the stack frames and then deletion of the stack frame, is it happening really in the background? So we'll see the background execution of the recursion. So here is the program. I have just rewritten this program by putting two statements in it. One statement I have written before if n equal to 1, and the one statement I have written after the else before return statement. So if you now see the execution, program is same, just I have added two print statements in the program just to check whether the conceptual things we saw in the earlier discussion are really happening in the background or not. Now if I give a call to the function, so it will take num equal to 4, then there will be call to factorial of num equal to 4 function, and it will generate how many copies? 3 more copies, rather 4 copies. It will first generate the factorial 4, then factorial 4 will generate factorial 3, factorial 3 will generate factorial 2, factorial 2 will generate factorial 1, and after termination of the last copy, it will get back to factorial 2, get back to factorial 3, get back to factorial 4, and it will get back to the original program. Okay. Now here if you see the execution, you'll find that there is call to the factorial 4, then 3, then 2, and 1, and from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4. So this way, and then back to main. So this way, this is the actual output. So you'll see that this way these print statements are getting executed. Hope you understood this practically. Now here is the comparison of iterative and recursive version of the program. In our case, we are trying to understand for the factorial of given number. So in iterative program, which we have already seen in the earlier lectures of our function topic, so we have a for loop which will iterate from 1 to n, and it will keep multiplying 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. For example, if our n value is 5, and if it is 4, it will multiply 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. But this same version can be replaced by recursive copy. So in recursion, you will find that this for loop is replaced by some other code. It has some if else part, and moreover we have a statement in which function calls itself. So here important thing to be noted is almost every iterative program can be rewritten as a recursive program. Means you can replace the version of the program or function wherein for loop is used. That version of the function can be replaced with the version having no for loop, but instead of that for loop we have repeated calling of the function itself. So in both the cases there is repetition, but in case of for loop it is iteration, and in case of function calling itself, that is the recursion. And one more important thing to be noted here is, in recursion version of a program there must be one terminating condition, otherwise your program will be running infinitely, thereby overflowing the system stack. You know that in case of recursion, as we have already discussed this thing, that if I call factorial of function with n equal to 4, it generates 4 copies and push onto the stack. What if I don't have terminating condition? It will keep calling the copies, n number of copies infinitely, and that system stack will be overflown, and after that your system may get crash. I mean to say your program may get crash. So to avoid that, there should be at least one terminating condition, or your program will be in infinite loop. That is again a undesirable thing. So here there should be one terminating condition, and remaining things you have already seen. So this is the difference between your iterative version and the recursive version. So there is no difference in the actual execution, in the sense in the getting the actual result of factorial. In both the cases you will be getting fantastic same result, but the execution in the background is different. One more thing to be noted here for the recursive version is, your recursive version is space consuming. It needs space. And in iterative version it is less space consuming and fast in execution. Then question is, why to use recursion? So there are so many scenarios wherein you will find that your iterative version is quite complex. If you try to write down programs for say some scenario in iterative way, that is more complex, complicated, and perhaps may not give result and may not be intuitive. But in case of recursive version, you will find that that program can be written very easily and intuitively. Hope you understood this topic. Dear learners, how was the lecture? So we are GCS Solutions, making technology easy to learn. I am Sunil from GCS Solutions. Till next lecture, happy coding.